There comes a point in every person's journey when noise no longer serves growth. The world constantly demands your attention. People's opinions, endless notifications, the pressure to prove yourself, to speak, to respond, to react. But when you begin to understand the deeper nature of transformation, you realize that true change doesn't happen in the noise. It happens in silence. Silence is not a void. It's a sacred space. It's the invisible field where your mind, body, and spirit come into alignment. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing something deeper, something internal that the world can't see, but your future self will thank you for. When you stop reacting to everything around you, your energy begins to shift. Every reaction drains you. Every unnecessary argument, every comparison, every time you try to prove your worth. But when you step back into silence, you start to conserve your power, you stop leaking energy on things that don't matter, and you start building inner momentum. This is the moment your transformation begins. Silence becomes your weapon, your teacher, your guide. You begin to hear something you couldn't hear before, your own truth. There's a frequency inside silence that most people never access because they're too busy filling the void with noise. But if you dare to sit with yourself, no distractions, no opinions, no external validation, you'll start to feel your true self waking up. The chatter fades, and your intuition begins to whisper. That whisper is your soul reminding you who you really are. It's the sound of your energy recalibrating. It's your DNA receiving new instructions. You are not who you were last year, last month, or even yesterday. In silence, you are rewritten from the inside out. Most people fear silence because it exposes them to themselves. When the world goes quiet, you start hearing the echoes of your unhealed wounds, your suppressed dreams, your unrealized potential. But don't run from that. That discomfort is not punishment. It's a sign that transformation is happening. Healing begins when you stop running and start listening. Silence allows you to meet yourself without filters. It shows you where you've been holding pain, resistance, or limiting beliefs. It invites you to release what no longer serves your growth. Science has proven that mindfulness and stillness can literally rewire the brain. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change its structure and function, thrives in moments of calm focus. When you enter silence, your nervous system moves out of survival mode and into creation mode. Stress hormones lower, clarity increases, and new neural pathways form. So, silence isn't emptiness. It's active healing and transformation at the biological level. Your brain begins to heal from overstimulation, your body begins to regulate, and your spirit begins to expand. You literally start to become someone new. In silence, creativity flourishes. The greatest ideas, inventions, and breakthroughs in history were born in solitude. Not in the crowd, not in chaos, but in moments of stillness where thoughts could breathe and imagination could stretch. When you quiet the external world, the inner world reveals its brilliance. Silence sharpens perception. You start to notice patterns, insights, and connections that were invisible when your mind was loud. You start to feel energy instead of just seeing form. You start to understand that silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening on a higher frequency. This is why the most powerful people protect their peace. They've learned that every reaction costs energy, and every distraction delays destiny. They've learned that silence is not withdrawal, it's strategy, it's preparation. When you stop trying to explain yourself, when you stop arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you, when you stop justifying your vision, that's when you reclaim your power. You don't need to announce every move or defend every decision. Silence speaks louder than explanations ever could. Think about the seed buried underground. It doesn't make noise, it doesn't seek attention. But while it's unseen, it's not inactive. It's transforming, expanding, preparing to break through the soil. That's you in your silent season. The world might think nothing's happening, but inside, you're growing roots so deep that when you finally rise, nothing can shake you. The silence is where your foundation is built. It's where your identity solidifies. It's where you stop chasing validation and start creating alignment. When you focus on yourself, you stop trying to control how others perceive you. You stop reacting to their noise. You stop living according to their timeline. You start listening to the rhythm of your own evolution. That's where true power lives, not in proving, but in becoming. Every moment you spend in silence strengthens your inner authority. You start to trust your instincts. You begin to move with clarity and purpose. You start to realize that not everyone is meant to understand your silence because it's not for them, it's for you. People will misinterpret your quietness. They'll think you've changed, that you've become distant, that you've lost interest. But what they don't realize is that you're not disconnecting. You're reconnecting. You're reconnecting with your peace, your goals, your higher self. You're learning to protect your energy and focus it where it counts. Silence is your way of saying, I'm no longer available for what doesn't grow me. You don't owe explanations for your healing. You don't owe access to people who drain your spirit. Your silence is self-respect in motion. The world glorifies noise, constant posting, constant talking, constant proving. But when you study the most grounded and successful people, you'll find they value silence more than attention. They understand that energy flows where focus goes. And if you're always responding to the noise, you're feeding distraction. But if you stay centered in silence, you're feeding creation. Your silence becomes a filter that separates what's essential from what's irrelevant. You begin to choose peace over validation and purpose over popularity. As you grow, you'll notice that your tolerance for certain things decreases. You won't find joy in gossip, drama, or endless talking. You'll crave stillness, solitude, and spiritual clarity. That's not isolation, that's elevation. Silence becomes your sanctuary. It's the only place where you can hear your higher guidance clearly. When your environment is quiet, your inner voice becomes louder. That's how you begin to receive divine direction, not from chaos, but from calm. Transformation through silence is not instant. It's a slow, sacred process. There will be moments of confusion, restlessness, and doubt, but don't mistake stillness for stagnation. What looks like nothing on the outside is deep work on the inside. The mind is reorganizing, the heart is healing, the energy is recalibrating. You are shedding old frequencies, breaking old patterns, and stepping into a new vibration. Every silent moment is a spiritual upgrade. This is why it's important to guard your quiet time fiercely. Morning silence, meditation, journaling, prayer. These are not luxuries, they're necessities. They are the laboratories of transformation. They allow you to digest your experiences, process emotions, and channel your next steps with intention. Without silence, you live in reaction mode, always responding, never creating. But with silence, you become the architect of your life. You move from chaos to clarity, from confusion to conviction. When you master silence, you master energy. You start to see that not every situation requires your response. Not every battle deserves your sword. Some things resolve themselves when you remove your energy from them. Silence is not ignoring, it's observing without absorbing. It's staying aware but unbothered. When you can stay silent in the face of provocation, you're no longer controlled by the external. You've become the calm in the storm. And the calm is where miracles manifest, because silence raises your vibration. It shifts your body into coherence. Your heart and brain begin to sync. You start attracting experiences that match your peace. The outer world becomes a reflection of your inner stability. That's how silence changes your DNA, not just metaphorically, but energetically. Every thought, every emotion, every intention sends signals to your cells. When you cultivate peace, your cells learn peace. When you hold gratitude, your chemistry shifts. You are programming your biology with higher consciousness. So don't fear silence. Don't rush out of it. Don't think you're missing out when you withdraw from the noise. You're aligning with something higher, a frequency of wisdom, clarity, and creation. You're becoming magnetic to opportunities that match your elevated state. You're learning that sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. Your silence is a declaration. I am focused on growth. Your silence says, I am no longer available for chaos. Your silence whispers, I am transforming. And while others may not see it, they'll feel it. Because transformation is energy, and energy speaks louder than words. Every day you choose silence, you're strengthening your focus. Every time you resist the urge to react, you're teaching your nervous system peace. Every moment you spend in stillness, you're becoming more aligned with your higher purpose. You are becoming grounded, powerful, untouchable. The version of you emerging in silence will not fit the noise you left behind. So keep going, keep choosing quiet over chaos, keep focusing on yourself. The work you're doing in the unseen will soon be undeniable. People will notice the glow, the peace, the confidence. They'll sense that something in you has changed. And it has, because silence has been rewriting you at the deepest level. It has been healing your mind, reprogramming your heart, and upgrading your energy. That's what happens when you stop reacting to the noise of the world and start listening to the voice within. You don't need to shout your transformation, you just need to live it. Let your silence speak. Let your peace confuse those who expected you to break. Let your growth and stillness become the loudest statement of all, that you are evolving, not explaining. And when you rise, as you surely will, remember that it was the silence that built your strength, refined your focus, and awakened your power. Because silence is the sacred ground where transformation happens. And if you can stay still long enough to feel it, you'll discover that your silence was never empty. It was filled with everything you needed to become the next higher version of yourself. Focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is sacred. It is the highest form of self-respect, the deepest act of transformation, and the truest way to honor the potential God placed inside you. Because when you turn your attention inward, when you stop chasing approval, comparison, and distraction, something extraordinary begins to happen. You begin to upgrade your inner DNA, not just biologically, but energetically and spiritually. You begin to change the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you move through the world. You begin to vibrate at a higher frequency. Every time you withdraw from drama, your spirit exhales. You stop feeding energy into things that don't feed you. You stop trying to prove yourself to people who will never understand your vision. You stop performing for validation and start living from intention. This is how your transformation starts, quietly, powerfully, from the inside out. You see, drama keeps you stuck in survival mode. It keeps your energy fragmented, your focus scattered, and your emotions reactive. But the moment you step away, your inner world begins to harmonize. Your nervous system relaxes. Your thoughts become clearer. You begin to feel a new rhythm inside, one of peace, presence, and purpose. That's the sound of your inner DNA upgrading. You start to realize that every thought carries a frequency. Every emotion sends a signal to your cells. When you live in constant stress, your body tightens, your mind narrows, and your energy contracts. But when you choose calm, gratitude, and purpose, your body literally begins to vibrate differently. Science shows that positive emotions strengthen your immune system, balance your hormones, and rewire your neural pathways. You are not just feeling better, you are becoming better on a cellular level. Your biology listens to your beliefs. That's why intention is everything. When you start living by intention, not reaction, you stop letting the world dictate who you are. You stop being a reflection of chaos, and you start becoming the creator of peace. You begin to make conscious choices, what you watch, what you consume, who you allow into your space, and how you spend your energy. Each choice becomes a message to the universe. I am ready for more. When you wake up in the morning and choose gratitude over complaint, you're shifting your energy field. Gratitude changes your vibration instantly. It moves you from lack to abundance, from fear to trust, from stress to surrender. It tells your subconscious mind that you already have enough, that you are already enough. And when you live from that frequency, you start attracting experiences that match that truth. Peace is your power. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you are telling your nervous system, we are safe. You're rewiring your subconscious to believe that you don't have to fight to be seen, you don't have to argue to be right, and you don't have to react to prove your worth. You're teaching your body to live in creation mode, not survival mode. You're shifting from reaction to response, from fear to faith, from noise to clarity. That shift is what upgrades your inner DNA. Your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you feed it worry, self-doubt, and fear, it will grow more of the same. But if you feed it discipline, focus, and faith, it will grow peace, confidence, and strength. Focusing on yourself means tending to that inner garden daily. It means being intentional about what thoughts you water and what weeds you pull out. It means being patient with your process, trusting that transformation is happening even when it's not visible. The energy you carry becomes the energy you attract. That's why self-growth is not just about what you do, it's about who you're becoming. The more you evolve on the inside, the more your outer world begins to shift. People change, opportunities appear, doors open, and sometimes doors close, not to punish you, but to protect your new vibration. Because when you raise your frequency, not everything or everyone can come with you. That's part of the upgrade. You begin to notice that the things that once triggered you don't anymore. You find peace in situations that used to create chaos. You no longer need validation from others because you've learned to validate yourself. That's how you know your inner DNA is changing. You're not just reacting to life, you're creating it. You're not driven by emotion, you're guided by vision. You're no longer chasing things outside of you, you're magnetizing them through who you've become. Focusing on yourself teaches you that healing isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. It's about releasing old patterns, stories, and energies that no longer serve your higher purpose. And as you do that inner work, your vibration rises. You start to feel lighter, clearer, more aligned. That alignment is what makes life flow. It's what makes miracles feel normal. You begin to understand that your thoughts are electrical, your emotions are magnetic, and together they shape your reality. When you focus on yourself, you take responsibility for both. You become the architect of your own frequency. You stop blaming circumstances and start designing outcomes. You stop waiting for things to change and start becoming the change. The truth is, your energy introduces you before you speak. People can feel when you've done the inner work. They can sense your peace, your focus, your confidence. You radiate differently. That's not luck. That's the power of self-mastery. That's the glow that comes from no longer depending on the world to complete you, because you've completed yourself from within. Every act of self-care is an act of self-respect. When you rest instead of overworking, when you meditate instead of scrolling, when you speak kindly to yourself instead of criticizing, you are sending signals to your body that it is loved, safe, and valued. That love rewires you. That peace heals you. You begin to move through the world with a sense of wholeness that cannot be shaken by opinions or outcomes. And yes, symbolically, your DNA is changing. Because your habits are changing, your beliefs are changing, your energy is changing. You are no longer running on the old code of fear, insecurity, or scarcity. You are installing a new program, one built on discipline, gratitude, purpose, and peace. And your reality will always reflect the program you're running inside. You'll notice that when you focus on yourself, certain people may fall away. That's okay. Growth often requires solitude. Not because you're better than anyone, but because your vibration no longer matches the old environments that once held you back. The conversations, the gossip, the low energy cycles, they simply don't resonate anymore. You start craving depth, authenticity, and purpose. That's how you know you're evolving. Transformation requires separation. Just like a caterpillar must retreat into its cocoon, you must withdraw from the noise to become who you're meant to be. And just like the caterpillar's body dissolves to form new wings, you too will dissolve parts of your old self to rise into your higher form. It's not always comfortable, but it's always worth it. The more you embrace that silence and focus on your inner work, the more unstoppable you become. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean ignoring others. It means showing up for them from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. It means you stop pouring from a cup that's half full and start overflowing naturally because your energy is abundant. When you heal, your relationships improve. When you elevate, your environment rises with you. Your peace becomes contagious. There's a divine intelligence inside you that knows what you're capable of. It's always guiding you, but you can only hear it when you're quiet and centered. When you stop trying to meet everyone's expectations, you begin to meet your own. When you stop seeking approval, you start seeking purpose. And purpose is the most powerful vibration you can carry. It aligns you with everything meant for you and filters out everything that isn't. Every time you choose purpose over distraction, you're strengthening your inner code. Every time you say no to what drains you and yes to what develops you, you're sending a message to the universe that you're serious about your evolution. You begin to live on a higher frequency, one of discipline, gratitude, and vision. You stop reacting to life and start co-creating with it. The more you focus on self-growth, the more the world starts to reflect that growth back to you. People treat you differently. Opportunities align effortlessly. You begin to attract experiences that match your new level of consciousness. This is not coincidence, it's resonance. The universe mirrors who you are, not what you want. So when you change who you are, your world has no choice but to change with you. Your outer reality is simply a mirror of your inner vibration. That's why inner work is the real work. You can't build a new life with an old mindset. You can't attract abundance while vibrating in scarcity. You can't manifest peace while living in chaos. Everything begins with the energy you cultivate inside. Focusing on yourself is how you take command of that energy. So take time each day to reconnect with yourself. Meditate, journal, breathe, pray, whatever brings you into alignment. Protect your peace like it's your greatest treasure, because it is. Silence your distractions, honor your intuition, trust your timing. Every moment spent in self-awareness is an investment in your future. You are literally reprogramming your energy field cell by cell, thought by thought, choice by choice. And don't rush the process. Transformation isn't about perfection. It's about progression. You're not racing anyone. You're realigning with who you were created to be. Celebrate every small victory, every mindset shift, every moment of peace you create. Each one is proof that your inner DNA is upgrading. Each one is a sign that you're becoming the higher version of yourself. Eventually, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. The situations that once triggered you won't even move you anymore. The people who once drained you will have no access to your peace. The goals that once felt distant will now feel natural because you've become the person capable of living them. That's the true power of focusing on yourself. You don't chase success, you attract it through alignment. So keep going. Keep building your inner strength in silence. Keep choosing peace, gratitude, and purpose even when chaos calls your name. Keep growing quietly, knowing that the world will eventually feel the shift you've been creating within. You are not just improving your mindset, you are upgrading your energy, your biology, your entire existence. And as you continue to rise, remember, your focus is your frequency. Whatever you give energy to grows, so pour it into your healing, your purpose, your peace. Because when you focus on yourself, you don't just change your life, you transform your entire vibration. You become the living proof that inner work creates outer miracles. You become the evidence that self-focus isn't selfish, it's sacred evolution. And one day the world will look at you and say, "You've changed." And you'll smile and say, "I didn't change, I just remembered who I am."